I have lived in the Del Dios area of Escondido, California for 3 decades. The end of Citricado Parkway was blocked off, and we heard that a school was going to be built there. We heard that after Palomar Hospital was built on the hill, the road would be put through for easy access. The hospital was built, and for years, nothing happened regarding the road. I'd be walking my dog, and people, usually elderly, would stop me to ask for directions to get to the hospital because their GPS showed that the road went through when it did not. They had been circling my neighborhood over and over again without figuring out how to get to Palomar. Finally, I contacted the mayor at the time, Sam Abed, and told him that if something wasn't done, we were going to have dead bodies out there. He put up signs with a big H directing people to Harmony Grove that leads to the hospital, and the problem was solved. We were told that the road was not put through because ancient hieroglyphics were found on rocks, and years later that there was a lone holdout who refused to sell his property to the city so the road project could move forward. Last fall, the street finally was put through, and what was discovered really had me concerned. I'd heard about the homeless camps, but had no idea where they were. We had a ton of mentally ill and drug addicts at our shopping center, and it was a problem. If I went to Wells Fargo to make a deposit at the ATM, homeless people would stand beside me, behind me. One time, a guy about 30 and on a bike said, "I'm hungry." I don't give a flying fig if he's hungry. I took care of my children, and it's not fair that I have to be hassled by someone else's. I told him not to talk to me, and he followed me almost all the way home. Another time, I was coughing due to allergies, and this older man offered to push my cart full of groceries. I told him no thank you, and he persisted. He tried to take my cart until I screamed bloody murder at him. He shouted, "Geez, lady," and ran. That's why in December of 2022, I went to the Escondido Humane Society to adopt a dog for protection, and she's good at it. There was an old man laying in front of the old Big Lot store with all of his junk surrounding him. There was a big long stream coming out from under him. He had peed, and the manager of the store next door came out and yelled bloody murder at him. He was saying, "Why did you have to do that here? Why did you do that here?" The guy didn't care. A police officer came out and knew him and said that he was accused of urinating, defecating, and masturbating on private property and had been pushed from one shopping center to another by law enforcement with no end in sight. He asked the old man if he had vodka, and the man said yes. The officer said, "You know I'm gonna pour it out, don't you?" And the man said yes. That is where I left it. Before the cop had come, I asked the man if he had any grown kids. He said he had 7. I said, "Don't they worry about you?" He said, "No, they've given up on me," and laughed. I have seen the remnants of campfires in the Home Depot parking lot. People slept there in sleeping bags. The security guard said that he was constantly shooing people away from the vans and trucks of customers because the drug addicted homeless, as the cops call them, they were looking for something to steal. Homeless men were sleeping in storage sheds at the Diablo Mini Storage on Avenida del Diablo. When I went out the back gate of our mobile home park, they would be filing out of their single file and flop on Mountain Shadow's property, smoking cigarettes and looking filthy. One of the neighbors woke up in the middle of the night scared to death because one of the people from the camps had turned on the faucet at the front of his home to use the water. We have found similar people wrapped in blankets and sleeping on the steps of our clubhouse. Many of the people in this park are elderly and live alone. A 93-year-old woman just rented a place across the street. Who is going to help her if one of these people breaks into a home? Drug addicted people who've had long-term effects of illicit drugs on their brains do high-risk behavior and truthfully have no common sense left. Before the bleeding heart liberals start to tell me how wonderful these disenfranchised people are and how unkind I am being to them, let me say that in December, a public health emergency was declared in the area of Harmony Grove Road and the Citricado Bridge. Giardia was discovered in the river. There was a massive clearing out, and the spookiest people I've ever seen were all around our neighborhood. Heavy equipment was used to clean out the debris, and all kinds of trash and clothes were on our streets. I called the police several times because we didn't want any of this around our property. Social services were provided, but you can't help those who don't want help. Many of these people have friends and relatives in the area, but they won't let the campers live with them, so they become a burden to the rest of us. Dr. Michael Savage has suggested that a compound be built in the desert to house these people, and I agree. In the last few months, I have made it a mission to get rid of these people. I realize that they are someone's sons and daughters, but I did a good job raising my kids, and isn't fair if I become the victim of poor parenting. No overnight camping is a sign at the police department. I asked our mayor if we could get one on Avenida del Diablo, where vehicles full of trash frequently park for weeks. He passed the message down to our new city council member, Judy Fitzgerald, and she is so busy pushing the Latino Film Festival and multiculturalism, which is Marxist. It's Marxist propaganda, that she didn't bother to respond. Giardia, folks, and she thinks the proper way to handle it is to give a young lady an award in Escondido because she helped fire victims in Los Angeles. She should be working for the betterment of our town, not someone else's. To his credit, our mayor, Dane White, had a police officer contact me about my recent concerns that people are returning to the jungle. He seemed a little confused at first because he said that they were just out there to clean up and had made 6 arrests. He didn't say what the arrests were for, As the manager of Albertsons told me, they call the police come out and shoo the panhandlers away, and they come right back. So the management has given up. I suppose this happens out in the jungle as well. Not too long ago, a young man approached me in the parking lot and asked for money. I said, I don't have any cash. He said, can't you charge a bottle of wine on your credit card? No, I do not enable users. This is where these young white men have gone in our society, down to the bottom. They think that a nice old lady like me is going to enable their addiction. I just want them away from me. The officer went on to say, we've had progress, but the area where they are congregated is private property, and the owner initially refused to pay for debris cleanup. To be fair to him, neither him nor you nor myself created this massive spike in drug-addicted homelessness. It was the state legislature who created this spike with AB 109, Prop 47, and Prop 578. Now we all have to deal with the consequences. AB 109, the California Public Safety Realignment Act of 2011, which allowed for non-violent, non-serious, and non-sex offenders who, after they are released from California state prison, are to be supervised at the local county level. Instead of reporting to state parole officers, these offenders are to report to local county probation officers. It was fashioned to meet the U.S. Supreme Court to reduce the prison population of the state's 33 prisons. Prop 47 reclassified some felonies to misdemeanor, which I believe is what caused all the smash and grabs we saw on YouTube. Prop 578 details the process for lot line adjustment or lot consolidations, not a specific ballot measure. Hopefully, that owner of that property, I feel so sorry for him. He must be really unhappy with being owner and having all those people squatting on his property. So God bless him. God bless America, and particularly God bless California. We need help.